You can do it.
First of all, the offset with Pat is great because he's like sober, and I'm a little. I get a little. I don't mean that literally, right? But
sounded like literally. That was funny. That was a great joke.
He's like connected to Earth. He's like he keeps. I get a. I can get a little lost in the details sometimes. I get into it, and so it's a good offset personality-wise, and he's just an easy guy to be around. I loved him as a competitor. I mean, one of the few guys when I lost to him, I actually left the match saying, well, at least Pat won. I mean, he's but here's the thing that's interesting, a little sort of look behind the scenes. I'm sorry, if I turn this way, I can't hear, so I'm keeping my head like this. Is if you talk to the Americans, everyone can win every match, including doubles, all the time. It's like there's something in the American generation. I don't know if you had that, and I have no idea. But when I see it at this age, I'm going, why does every American go, I got that, I got that?
I think we worked more from like a place of panic and then move forward from there.
I worked straight out of insecurity.
Yeah.
And I just said, I got to over-respect my opponent, but there's not a guy in this team that doesn't believe they can win any match. The format has a lot to do with that, right? I mean, they put a lot of thought behind this format. If you think about it, you could be down 6-2, fighting to hold serve to 3-all, and then hold, break, hold, and play a good breaker. Technically, you could play 14 great minutes and win a match. So everybody knows they can get over the finish line. They're very confident. It is then a function of figuring out, who's most comfortable with what matchups, and that happens really on one day, because Saturday, after tomorrow night, we got to post our lineup for Saturday, and then Team Hero gets to match up against it, right? And then at the end of Saturday, Team Euro has to put up their lineup, and then we get to match up against that. So it's a great format. They've really done a great job with it.
Would you have enjoyed playing in this? You won 30 matches as a Davis Cupper, which
More.
is right up there. What?
More.
No, you're 30-5.
I thought I was 34.
I don't think you were. It's okay.
Give me a second. I gotta.
You were still pretty.
Okay, I'm over it.
You were still pretty good, though. I promise you. Would you have enjoyed this format and kind of the buy-in, the shorter format? It's like a sugar rush. You got to race to the finish line. 10-point tiebreakers. The action never stops. Your teammates are talking to you. You might not have liked that part if it was Pete.
Would he have been talking to me? We definitely went about our work differently. So the team part I love, right? Like as you mentioned, Davis Cup, you play alone the whole year, and then because two things are happening. You don't want to let your teammate down, but there's also part of you that wants to show them what they may have to continue to worry about for the rest of the year, right? So you're peers, but you're competitors, but you're together, and I think that always brings out the energy and the best in people. However, I would have preferred a longer format, right? Because my game was designed on sort of putting together a narrative and a tapestry, and like this, like sort of like one set tie break, I think might have had a little stress element to me too.
How's because I know Davis Cup, it's a smaller team room. There's a couple guys. Our team was a little bit different. We chose to hang out with each other. But the vibe in the team room here, everyone picking each other's brains, is it just joking around, or is it, what's the vibe on Team
World?
Well,
the difference between, say, Davis Cup and big picture and this is like, you got cultures that sort of are entrenched in Davis Cup, right? You're around your fellow, your fellow American, your fellow Aussie. Here, you have South American, you have Australia, so it's really in different ages and different stages of career. So it's really like a ragtag team of just true professionals who are giving and buying into everything in this game, coming together to discuss the details, but also to sort of be the outlet for the other one. And listen, it's a great vibe. They're counting on each other. I just can't screw it up. That's so. I want to make sure each one can have their latitude to be the best of themselves, and we'll have a great weekend.
How are you preparing for that? I mean, it's just big picture. It's great to see you back in the mix the way you have been the past year and a half or so. It's great to see you around here, but still, this is a fast-moving sport. It's global. You're not watching every match. How are you preparing for this role and saying, hey, listen, what works for Alex Michelsen may not be what works for Taylor Fritz, but I've got to tailor my message?
Well, first of all, I don't have to watch the entire match, right? I mean, I've lived this sport long enough where when I tune in from time to time, I can get a lot of juice out of the time, because I understand what's sort of happened. So I do make a conscious effort to stay engaged with the game from that perspective. But I would also say that it's impossible in this sport to parachute into somebody's life and think you're going to make a difference. So like one of the important things for me and for, I think the players, is that I take the time to speak to their coaches way leading up to this, to understand how they process in real time, to understand what somebody hears versus what you say, which are two different things, right? As a coach, I could say something and it could be very accurate and very right, but if they hear something different, that's a problem, right? Some people want more, let's say, energy, positivity, not too much. Other people can process. So it really does depend on the player, and you're not going to discover that in a day. So leading up, that's a big component.
So,
we gotta get him out of here.
Yeah, I was going to say.
He's gotta get back out on the court.
All right, fine. That's the way it works.
You got one more, and then I'll hustle out. Did you want to ask something?
No, I was just going to say, this might not be something you realize until it's real time, but the TV viewing experience, the banter between captain, players on the bench, that's a big part of it. Have you thought about how much to inject, or is that purely situational?
Oh, it's totally real time. I mean,
Yeah.
this shit is real. The only thing I worry about is saying stuff like that, like swearing on accident, right? It's like, because I'm not kidding, and I warned everybody. I said, listen, I got like cursed Tourette's going sometimes. It's like, it's an efficient form of communication, right? Sometimes, and I got to be careful. But that's how real it is. Where you do have to put up some parameters, but at the same time, you got to get your point across if it's the right point, and your guy is hearing it the right way and counting on it.
Well, we can't wait to watch it. Go Team World. I don't know if we're allowed to say that. Screw it. I said it. I did it. Round of applause for Andre Agassi. Thanks for stopping by. So there's a couple things while we're waiting for Captain Noah and his rebuttal.
Yeah,
To laying it down, but a couple of great things about this event. One of the greats of all time, Roger Federer, paying tribute to Rod Laver by putting this event together, where we share court, we share cultures, we share this melting pot of tennis that is so fantastic, but also bringing Johnny Mack back into the fold as a captain, bringing Bjorn Borg back into the fold, bringing Andre Agassi back into the fold, and Yannick Noah. I mean, what a win for tennis.
Think about the range of ages here, from Rod Laver, after whom this is named, to Brazilian teenagers. It's real. The lineage of tennis as it plays out is one of the real beauties here. And I wish Andre could just be a little more thoughtful and not just give such cliched and rote answers.
Well, I asked him the last question about when to get involved and when not to, because he is able, and one of the most self-aware people that I've ever been around in my entire life. Like, if he tells you one good thing about himself, he's going to tell you 3 things that he's gotten wrong, which I think is a superpower sometimes. But also, he goes into such detail and is able to dissect things in such a way where it's like sometimes simplicity rules and sometimes complexity can rule. And him trying to find that balance in real time, coaching someone on court, which he hasn't done before, I think is one of the real amazing things about this event, right? To see how it actually translates in real time.
One of the things that I wanted, if we would have had a little bit more time, and maybe we can ask Yannick about it, is each day the matches are weighted differently, right? Like, it's 1 point tomorrow, it's 2 points the next day, it's 3 points the next. How much is that factoring in as he makes?
Well, that's why you're not seeing Alcaraz day one.
Bring out the heavy guns for the week.
Correct. You're bringing your, that all goes into it for sure. Like, they know how it's weighted. You're going to run, Alcaraz. Zverev and Alcaraz aren't on day one for Team Europe.
Yeah, they're going to bring him in clutch.
That's your answer.
Which is, I'm sure you guys all know this too. And this is one of the real beauties of the event, is this accelerator clause where but Sunday the stakes get higher. And yeah, as you could tell by it doesn't take a tactical genius to maybe you keep your top 5 players for the most valuable matches. But what do you make of it? Getting Carlos out there for doubles is an interesting call.
Yeah, if you're Carlos, I'm guessing he didn't go straight from winning the U.S. Open to the practice courts, and 2 days later, I think getting a match.
He posted it after he won.
Getting a match. Let's put our hands together for Yannick Noah, captain of Team Europe. Oh, good.
Hi guys.
I gotta be honest, you didn't see it, and I'm so happy to have you on Served. I've been such a fan of yours for such a long time. This is awesome for us.
Thank you. Can you repeat that?
Yep, I will. Well, we can edit it. We can send it. We can send it to
I
you.
need some confidence.
I got to be honest though, Andre was talking a lot of trash. He was just here right now. He was talking a whole lot of trash, but did share the matchups for tomorrow early. Opelka, Casper, Menchik, Mikkelsen, Fonseca, Kaboli. Are you happy with the way the matchups turned out?
Well, I'm happy in general. So yes, obviously, as you have all these quality players, so are you starting to sabotage me? And there's all these quality players, so
Yeah.
obviously, we're gonna have some great tennis. All these guys are so good. So yeah, now we know who's playing who. We've been here for like 3 days practicing, getting ready for this unbelievable event.
When you were approached about doing this job, not the same as Andre because you have experience being a captain. You led France to the Davis Cup title as a captain in 1991. I remember watching that. I was obviously cheering against you that day. But then 1997, you led the Fed Cup team to a title. And then even last year, 2024, the Paralympics, you were the wheelchair captain. You have a lot of experience with being a captain. How much does that translate to this style of event? Or is it completely different because you're parachuting in for the week and a bunch of players from a bunch of different places and cultures?
Well, it's always different. All the players are different. We all have different journeys, right? So it's not about what I'm saying. First of all, I'm trying to listen to what they have to say, who they are. I'm coaching men and women. I'm not coaching players. I don't know anything about tennis, to tell you the truth. But I'm trying to, with time, it's about transmitting. I'm a grandfather, so it's about transmitting. And I love that part, but you have to listen to the players. So most of these players, I don't know them. I saw them on TV.
Yeah.
I saw a few matches at the French Open, but to be able to spend some time outside the court, talk about life in general, I get to know them. And this is where my job is fun. And I really look forward to just go into the court and see how they react. But it's about trying to listen to who they are first.
How has that process been this week? And I asked Andre a similar question. As active athletes, I say when someone retires, they're ready to tell you the truth, right? As an active athlete, we're always trying to convince ourselves, I didn't play well last week, but I'm definitely going to play well this next week. I'm going to try to convince myself that something's going better. How do you value the feedback from the players versus what you're seeing in practice? And how do you kind of have those two things offset?
Again, it depends on the player, and it's sometimes the timing. There are moments that you can say certain things. There are other moments when you just have to let the person digest it a little bit, because at the end of the day, he's the one playing, so I can have my input. But the moment when you say something is very important, the timing is important, and not only the timing, it's like the tone. The tone is very important also.
That's what my wife says. Apparently I get the tone wrong.
What you said. You said it.
It is true. There's so many ways to say the same things, but it's about the intensity and how you say things that can make a difference, especially when you're with these guys under pressure all year long. So it's very important. The communication is very important at that moment.
Tell me if I'm wrong. I heard a story once you wore the Cameroonian wristband, the famous wristband, in part because it was to remind yourself you were playing for something more than just yourself, that there was something you were representing. And I wonder how, first of all, I suspect you would have loved this event, but how you're sort of balancing the individual of tennis with this team format that I think speaks to some of your strengths.
Well, I mean, Andy, we play tennis, but we always play for someone. Always. You don't play for yourself. People have a tendency to think that we're playing for ourselves. I never played for myself, and I don't think Andy ever played for himself. You always play for someone. You start playing, you're a kid, you say, hey mom, did you see that? Hey daddy, you see that? And you move on. And then as you grow up, the motivation changes. Like 17, 18, I was playing to get some more chicks. because I knew that if I was not good, I'm not gonna get
How'd
any girl.
that turn out?
So I tried to be good, and this happened. And then you say, okay, I'm gonna have my first check. What do I do? Well, I'm gonna get maybe a house for mom, and then dad says, hey, what about me? So, and then on and on. So the motivation change, and it's always a good feeling to know that you're winning and you're playing for someone. And I play for the loved ones. Sometimes I play for people who came to me and say, winning made them happy. I'm happy to hear that. And of course, me being French and also African, when I play, I know that there's a lot of people in Africa and in Cameroon in particular that are very happy. So I play. It gives me the energy. And now being captain of Europe, I mean, I'm so full of gratitude. I can't even believe I'm here, because I was in Cameroon, but in my house, I'm like living in the middle of the jungle. Now, I'm going back to the roots, and then for some reason the phone worked, and it's like Steve and Roger calling me saying, "Would you be the captain? Captain of what?" I didn't know if they wanted me to get them on the boat somewhere. So, and I say, I mean, how you doing, Roger? He said, what's wrong with you? He said, well, everything's cool, Yannick. Would you be captain? I said, are you joking? So then he said, no, he's serious. And I take it, I'm very, first of all, I'm impressed to be, coaching these guys. What do you say? I was just practicing with Carlito. What do I say? Just shut up. And just let him play, So, it's an honor to be here. It's my first time in San Francisco, so I'm really happy to be here.
Your journey through life is so interesting, because most people play tennis, have success at tennis, and obviously your victory at Roland Garros is something that has stood for so many years and been so important. But then you have this entirely different career. You've played concerts in front of 80,000 people, musically. Your journey, your relationship with tennis starts with tennis, goes into something else. It seems like you come back to tennis a little bit. Life takes you in a different direction. What has your relationship with tennis been over the last 30 years?
When I played, I felt something was missing. I couldn't really put a word on it, on this emotion. I had to work on being. I had to work on being more selfish, and when I became more selfish, being surrounded by people, it was always about me. I needed that in order to compete, in this professional crazy world. So when I stopped, it was a relief for me, because all of a sudden I realized that I can also, there are other people around me, including my close ones. So it was interesting to rebuild and become a man. Because when I was playing, it was everything around me all the time. So it's good, but then I became captain right away, and I love the fact that I could actually help someone else. Mm-hmm. And my first year as captain was coaching my best friends, Guy Forget and Henri Lecomte. So that was easy. The transition was easy. But it was interesting all of a sudden to just say, okay, it's not about me, it's about him now. What can I do for him? And on and on. And then I went to the music right away. I loved it right away. It was, of course, the first reaction when, I started was, the easy way was just to do rock and roll. Show the muscle, be a male. It's like natural as you play. You cannot go out there and play tennis and say, oh, I lost because I was too sensitive. But of course, there's a sensitivity inside me that I wanted to express over these years, and all the wounds that I had, and I can do that through my music. And for me, singing is my therapy, and I love it. And I'm not such a great singer, but when I sing, I mean what I say, and people have a tendency to believe what I say. Not like now, of course, you don't believe anything I'm saying. But when I sing, sometimes people believe, and it's my therapy. And so I'm going from the music to the tennis, and it's both my family.
How much outreach did you have? Because when you're talking through when you became the Davis Cup captain for France, you were with your contemporaries. You were with the guys that you were playing a year earlier. Like completely different than, I'm guessing, what the last year of your life has been like with Laver Cup. When did outreach start? Did you want to know the players in the lead up, or was it more along the lines of give them their space, kind of we'll cross paths at some point? What was the process like with players that you say you didn't really know?
Well, I mean, the best thing that the organization did was that to take me last year to Berlin to see how it works. So last year, you know, of course, as you all know, Yannick was Bjorn Borg, the captain, and Bjorn is a good friend of mine.
Yeah.
And it was good to be able to see how it works. So what they do is have a dinner with all the players, with no agents, no family, just the players, and we get to spend some quality time and some, you know, just chatting, getting to know each other. And this is the first time I met them. And so now when I came back this year, I knew most of them, like Sasha. I knew I met Carlos a few times, so I got to know them. So it's easier for me, because as I said before, it's easier for me to coach somebody that I know.
Is there any chance that you're going to be able to turn Carlos around? He hasn't been playing well recently.
He's playing like shit.
Yes. I'm just wondering. I know you're not a miracle worker, but you know, what are you going to do to actually get Carlos some confidence moving forward?
Well, I mean, the good thing, he's playing so bad, so whatever I'm going to say is going to help him. You know? At that point.
Can only go up from here. Listen, thank you for stopping by, sir. It's been so much fun being here with you, and
he talked too much, though.
he
Talks too much. And it's good to see you.
Thank you so much.
See you guys.
Have a blast this weekend. Thank you. All right. Round of applause for Yannick Noah.
It's Team
So cool.
Team Europe
So
captain.
cool.
That is the single coolest person you will ever meet.
Yeah. We were having a conversation, and feel free to yell out suggestions. We were having a conversation on the way over. It was like coolest people in tennis, because I don't know Yannick well. I've met him in passing a couple of times, but just someone that like is easy off that. It's like Safin's pretty cool, Noah's pretty cool, like totally. That guy,
That's pretty cool. That nerd.
That guy. So the difference between me and Noah is that Noah literally is one of the best-selling musicians in France, and I do a podcast. Very different.
You've better backup if that is any consolation. Just kidding. No, people. I mean, seriously, he was very modest about it. I mean, there are people in France who don't know he had a tennis career.
Yeah.
That is sort of that's the big music star he was. But no, that's simply the coolest person you'll ever meet, don't you think?
The contrast is going to be fun, right? They have obviously Andre and Yannick have been so successful in their own ways in a million different places and on the court, away from the court. But the way they go about this is very, very different. One is patience, and one's like blunt force trauma, right? I mean, it's gonna be. I'm interested as a fan. I want to see them interact with their players, see how they kind of use their tools, and you know, it seems like they're both very committed to their style, which I think you have to be. But they couldn't be more different.
No, and also it's a huge. You brought it up. There's a huge experience disparity, not as tennis players, but in terms of coaching teams. I don't know if you guys caught that, but in addition to Davis Cup captaincy and what was now Billie Jean King, what was Fed Cup, he was the wheelchair tennis captain.
So cool.
Yeah, that's the Paralympics captain. And Andre, you can see just talking to him and just hearing him here. I mean, he's great one-on-one. He's so analytical. He's so perceptive. But it's different to have a roster of players. So Yannick Noah, big experience advantage in terms of coaching teams.
I'm definitely interested to see, because obviously the benches are all mic'd up and they're all sitting there hanging out. I'm interested to see the vibe difference between Team World and Team Europe, just because Andre seems like he's really going to be out in front of it, high energy and like everything's at stake, and Noah's a little bit more chill.
Yeah, and also like we'll get into it more tomorrow because we got the league, we got the matchups. That was pretty fun. But we were gonna analyze the matchups tomorrow's show, same time, same place. Bring your friends. We're gonna be here for the entire tournament. This is so much fun for us. When Yannick's talking about, I can't believe we're here. We do a show in a garage. Like, this is amazing. This is so much fun for us. I think everyone is feeling the love. But one of the things that shouldn't be lost in what Andre said, he gave us a clue, right? He goes low and slow. Like that court's going to be low bouncing, not quick, right? So tough to create speed through the court, tough to create spin up above. So you look at like the first match, like Opelka and Ruud. Opelka wants that kick serve to jump up and away. It might not get as high. Casper's spin profile is about as intense as anyone in the world. This mutes both of those strengths for those players. So the chess match has now begun. They've each submitted blindly one day. It's shaken out how it's going to shake out. And now they're going to start adjusting. One person has to submit. You know, we're going to see the kind of the genius of a captaincy when you have to react to the other submissions in the coming days, JW.
Yeah, I don't know if we can pull the rules, if we can pull that slide back up with sort of the format and the regulations. But also, every player has to play at least one match, which is something the captain